Let's start having a look at the early years. Currently, at the time of recording, the early years analysis was not yet included for 2018. When it is, this video will be updated. Let's see what it says for 2017. Well, we start off with a percentage of pupils getting a good level of development. Now, there are 17 early learning goals, and a pupil will obtain a GLD, good level of development, if they get expected or exceeding in the first 12. They're the communication language, physical development, personal, social and emotional development, literacy, which is reading and writing, and maths, numbers and shape, space and measures. So if a pupil got a single emerging in any one of these 12 ELGs, then the pupil will not get a good level of development. However, they can get an emerging in any of the remaining 5 and it will not affect the GLD. So understanding the world or expressive arts and design do not affect good level of development. Now this chart may look a bit complicated to start with, but let's just concentrate on the lighter blue bars and the red line. This shows your school percentage for 2015, 2016 and 2017 compared to the red line, which is your national average. Now let's have a look at the darker blue bars. These are your free school meal 6 pupils for 2015, 2016 and 2017, and they're being compared with the national and the national other, that's to say the non-free school meal pupils. So why are your free school meal 6, that's to say any pupil who has made successfully free school meal claim, so is free school meal eligible over the last 6 years, why are your free school meal 6 pupils being compared against the national non-free school meal pupils? Well, Ofsted School Inspection Handbook, which is the book by which all Ofsted inspections are to be used, are to be evaluated against, states inspectors will take account of current standards and progress, including the school's own performance information, and make a relevant judgment on academic or other learning outcomes for pupils by evaluating the extent to which all pupils achieve or exceed standards expected for their age nationally at the end of a key stage. So that's why we're using good level of development. And it also says inspectors will take particular account of the progress made by disadvantaged pupils from their starting point. They will consider the progress made by the end of a key stage compared with that made nationally by other pupils. And what does other pupils mean? Well, in the previous version of the School Inspection Handbook, it actually said that it will be comparing it with non-disadvantaged pupils. So they're not expecting you to actually attain the national non-free school meal pupils for your free school meal pupils, though it would be good if that happened. Instead, what they're looking for is what impact a school is doing to reduce any differences in progress and attainment between disadvantaged and other pupils with the same starting points. In other words, this is your closing the gap or diminishing the differences measure. Previously, in 2016, it was your school against the national, against your own non-disadvantaged pupils, so your school disadvantage versus your school non-disadvantaged. Now it's your school disadvantage versus the national non-disadvantaged. Now you'll notice that we've got the figures at the bottom, school percentage, national all, national other, and your cohort, the number of pupils. But you'll also notice certain figures are in grey. Why is that? Well, Ofsted's handbook says that inspectors must review carefully what data is meaningful and avoid focusing on the performance of small groups where assessment information is less reliable. But what is a small group? Well, Ofsted has defined it as any group in a particular year which is under 11, so 10 or below. And to show this, they will put any figures with a cohort of 10 or below in grey. However, be warned, if you are looking at a trend, so if you're looking at 2 years results or more, then Ofsted will, and the official words are comment separately. Ofsted will be able to comment separately on any group which is 6 or more if they're looking at a trend. So in this particular example, in 2017, they won't look at 2017 by itself because there's less than 11. But if you're looking at 2016 and 2017, then they won't look at this either, because we have 7 and 5. We have one year group which is under 6. Now if this was 7 and 6, then they can use these figures. What happens if the cohort size is too small due to group size? Well, Ofsted Handbook says inspectors should gather a wide range of other evidence to ensure the school is providing effectively for disadvantaged pupils, including reviewing pupils' work and talking to pupils and teachers. So you can see in this fictitious school that we've been round about the national average. We were ahead in 2016, we're at the national average for 2017, but for our free school meal 6 pupils, we were 100%, but only out of 2 cohort. So be careful of making big judgments based on small cohort. Then 1 out of 5 for 2016, and then 4 out of 7 for 2017. There are additional analyses for the mathematics early learning goals, but there are 2 goals. There's numbers and there's shapes. So let's say a pupil was number 3 exceeding for maths and a 1 emerging for shapes. Would Ofsted count them as expected, exceeding or emerging for maths as a whole? And the answer is emerging. It will take the lowest of the 2. Now there are 4 sets of bars per year, 1 pair for expected, 1 pair for exceeding. So again, what I do is look at the first bar and then jump 4, look at the second, look at the third. We also have reading and writing early learning goals. Now, when I go into a school, if a school asks me to talk about their results, what I do straight away is I have a look at good level of development and I have a look at writing, because usually there is a big correlation between the 2. Writing is the hardest one to get at early years. Then it's reading, and then it's the 2 maths early learning goals. Page 1 of the Ofsted Inspection Handbook is called Areas to Investigate. Now, these are not, strictly speaking, areas to investigate. They used to be called strengths and weaknesses in 2016. But unfortunately, that caused problems. Teachers were phoning up Ofsted saying, our school, according to your report, doesn't have any strengths. And that's not what it's intended to convey. What it's intended to say is these are things which are outside of the average. So areas to investigate, they're not literally areas that Ofsted are going to come to your school and investigate. Instead, these are the equivalent of strengths and weaknesses put into Key Stage 2 progress, Key Stage 2 attainment, Key Stage 1 attainment, phonics and behaviour. Now you've noticed I've not actually said early years. So as I said before, early years for 2018 has not yet been released. What the strengths and weaknesses in 2016 were 100% of pupils achieving a good level of development, more than the national average, or fewer than 50%. So what happened in 2017? None of these were actually used. The front page was completely silent about areas to investigate for early years. So we don't know what it's going to be for 2018, but you can expect it to be based, if anything, on good level of development. So now's a really good time for you to have a look at your internal data for early years and see how you do compared to the national average. Here are some points to ponder about the early years. So these are Questions which have been taken from official Ofsted documents. How does your school moderate your baseline entry? So you can see that some of these questions you are required to go outside of the ASP and the IDSR. Is it secure? Is it based on sound evidence? Were children well enough prepared, that's official Ofsted terminology, for year one? In other words, did they achieve a good level of development? How well did they do, especially in literacy and maths? What about your free school meal children? Did they achieve as well as the non-free school meal children nationally? And if not, what approaches are in place now to raise the attainment of free school meal children? What progress do children make in early years for each area of the curriculum? What is attainment on exit like? So what Ofsted are looking for is, have they not just made the expected progress, but have they made more? For example, if children entered below average, are they in line with national average by the time that they end early years and go into year one? Alternatively, if they enter in line with age-related expectations, are they above national? Have they got some exceedings by the time they enter year one? Are there any gender differences both on entry and exit? The difference in national, of course, is around 14% between boys and girls. Are there any other gaps between groups? How is transition from reception to year one managed? What records are passed on? What is your school doing to close any gaps between girls and boys? And what plans does your school have to raise the percentage of pupils in an ELG in literacy and maths? Are these areas identified on the action plan? And what is the school doing to help free school meal pupils achieve? So these are some points to ponder for early years. In the next video, we'll have a look at phonics. Thank you very much for watching this video. Why not like us and subscribe to this channel? And why not subscribe to our free premium mailing list, where you can get 10% off our best prices and advance notice on what's happening.